Good morning, everybody. It's Sunday morning at the cabin. I'm drinking my coffee and cooking some bacon for breakfast. Little guy and I are going to spend the day out hiking and adventuring, and we're going to want to come home to a warm meal. So we are going to throw a bean soup with tons of CSA veggies into the crock pot. So when we get home, we'll have a nice warm dinner. I'm going to show you what we're making. All of this produce was in our CSA Harvest box from Good Neighbor Gardens. So I'm going to dice up turnips and carrots. I'm going to pull the fava beans out of their shells. I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to slice up this celery. I am not going to toss these gorgeous celery leaves. We're going to hang on to those and add those towards the end, about an hour from when we eat. Add in a ton of fresh rosemary, and again, towards the end, I'll add in some fresh parsley. I think I've mentioned before to you guys, I don't usually buy my bouillon. I buy bouillon rather than chicken stock. It's more economical and I feel better for the environment. So I will use probably about 2 tablespoons of this with 6 cups of water as the soup base. And then we're using 16 bean mix. You can get these in the bulk bin at Sprouts or a very similar bag to this at just about any grocery store in the universe. The Hispanic section usually has the most affordable version. 23 grams of carb and 8 grams of protein per quarter of a cup. So competitors on prep, you probably won't be able to make this fit in your macros, but this is certainly a healthy, nutritious dinner, except for this part. Bacon, I don't even know. I didn't measure how much this is. Enough to fit in the skillet. I've cooked it in. I'm going to pull the bacon out and throw it in the fridge until just before I serve it, but I'm going to saute my veggies in the bacon grease. Note on bacon, I feel like it's super overpriced. You can get a pretty affordable way to buy bacon is to buy the ends and pieces, and it's not going to be all perfectly shaped, but if you're chopping it up, it doesn't really matter. Celery and carrots are all at a pretty small dice, and they're about to get cooked in the bacon grease, probably just 4 or 5 minutes to soften them. The turnip is not a turnip. It's a watermelon radish. The joys of cooking from a CSA box. You don't know what you have. So I'm actually going to probably slice this up into a salad later today. So that is not going in the soup. If you've not cooked with fava beans before, obviously you'll discard the exterior shell, but then inside you can see that each bean has a light green kind of jacket on. So I've started to peel this one. You take off the light green part and you're just going to keep that slightly darker green on the inside. That's the bean itself, so this part gets discarded. I am going to wait and toss these in probably about an hour before the soup is ready. We don't want to overcook them. Got a lot going on here. I have simmered my carrots and celery in the bacon grease. I probably should have given some of that to the dog. It's a lot of grease. I have minced up 4 cloves of garlic, and I've de-stemmed a whole bunch of rosemary. I'm not really measuring. It's just going to all get into the skillet. We'll saute that about 1 minute more. I've got it on way low. All right, in my crock pot, I have 6 cups of water so far. I'm going to dump in all my beans. And this is what this bouillon looks like. Can't do it with one hand, but I am going to put in 2 tablespoons and just stir it in there. As we're walking, we're talking about how much we love nature, how we thank God for such a beautiful planet. But what's your other favorite thing, Jaron?
Food.
Food. Is he my kid or what? And so who should we thank for our food? Our bean soup has been covered on low for about 6 hours. I'm going to add in the fava beans I had. This is almost nothing, not even 1/8 of a cup. So if you don't have fava beans, don't worry about it. I chopped up all of my celery stalks. If you're buying celery at the store, you could absolutely use kale or some other green leafy vegetable. I'm going to throw all of that in. And I'm throwing most of 1 bunch of parsley in. I'm going to toss the stems. I'm going to save a couple sprigs off for a garnish, but nearly 1 whole bunch of parsley is going into our soup, and I'm going to let this simmer probably about 45 minutes or so, and then it will be dinner time. This is one of those times I wish I had smell-o-vision. You can smell the parsley and celery stalks. I am adding in about 4 ounces of chopped up bacon, and I'm going to let that warm up in the soup for about 15-20 minutes while I bake some of my favorite organic biscuits, and then it'll be dinner time. I already know you like the biscuit, but can you taste the soup and tell me what you think?
Okay.
I think it's delicious.
Ah, too hot.
Too hot? All right, I'll taste it. Mmm. It's almost kind of sweet. Like it has a little bit of a sweet taste. I didn't add too much salt. And I think it's delicious. That's edible.